Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of John and Athena Talk About Stuff. And what is it we're talking about today, Athena?
We are talking about yet another sequel, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Wow. So this is how many sequels?
3.
3. And how many episodes have we had?
3.
3. So we're kind of sequel obsessed, but is it that we are sequel obsessed? Or is
it society?
Society.
It's definitely society. I mean, it's probably us too, but it's definitely society, especially during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to release the things they know will sell during the time that movies sell best.
Right. And the thing is that's really funny to me is people seem to think that this is like a new thing that was going on, right? Like sequels are just like in the last couple of decades. But in fact, if you go back, they had movies where, like, they had multiple Abbott and Costello meets such and such person, or they had multiple movies featuring the same cast. They were basically like sitcoms. This is back in the 30s and 40s, where every year or every 6 months you would have a new movie in the series. So the idea that sequels are somewhat new or somehow a disease of the blockbuster era is just not quite right.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a disease. I mean, I like sequels for the most part. They're pretty decent nowadays. Like, I feel like sequels used to be bad. Like, people are like, oh, I can't believe they made a second one. And now people are like, oh my god, they made a second one. Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think that's actually a really good point. And I think it also has bearing in terms of Jurassic World, in the sense of when you talk about sequels today, it seems that a lot of the people who are making sequels have figured out the thing where the sequel needs to be at least on par in terms of quality with the original, or at least, you know, within hailing distance, as opposed to sometimes, like, this is way before your time. There was a movie with Eddie Murphy called Beverly Hills Cop, and it was actually just hugely funny, and it was a huge hit back in the day, made him a huge star. And then they made Beverly Hills Cop 2, and it was like aggressively unfunny. It's like the director that they had, the guy named Tony Scott, was someone who didn't actually understand comedy particularly well, and for him to be doing an action comedy didn't actually work. And so there were a lot of sequels where it was like just got slapped together really quickly and shoved out there as quickly as possible. And these days, at least, with Marvel, with Pixar, and now with Universal in this one, and even going back to the original Jurassic Park, if you watch The Lost World, which was the direct sequel to the first Jurassic Park, it's not really good at all. It's kind of mean-spirited and it's kind of ugly. It's got some good action sequence, but it's not as much fun, and it didn't have the kind of the feel of the first one. Now, you haven't actually seen any of the previous... You haven't seen any of the Jurassic Park movies. You've just seen the Jurassic World movies. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I've never seen Jurassic Park 1, 2, or 3. Although I have seen the iconic moment where, like, the water cup in the Jeep or whatever is shaking, and you know the T-Rex is coming, and so I feel like really that just sums up the whole trilogy.
Well, you live in the YouTube generation where they just pick and choose all of, like, the moments that you can see. And so you've seen all the high points of, like, the first 3 films and not necessarily the rest of the films.
I've seen one part where someone gets pecked a bunch by pterodactyls.
Yes.
And gets really fucked up from that.
Yeah.
Which one was that? Second?
No, that was actually Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, okay, the third. So I've seen a little bit of each one, I think. So really...
So when you go in, knowing that you have not seen the Jurassic Park movies, when you went in and saw the first Jurassic World movie, did you feel like you were missing a whole bunch? And does that affect the way that you kind of look at the Jurassic World movies?
No, I don't think it really mattered at all, because basically all you need to know about Jurassic Park is that they tried to have a park full of dinosaurs and it went terribly.
Strangely.
And that's all you need to know for the new one, because the exact same thing happens in Jurassic World. Literally the exact same thing.
Which makes you wonder what they were thinking, not just in, I mean, what they were thinking in the movie world.
Yeah, in their universe.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they were like, oh, this didn't work the first time at all. Let's try again. The exact same thing.
Right. But commensurately, on the flip side of that, the same thing with the filmmakers. Because the Jurassic Park movies were all very successful. Even the second film did very well. And so for them, it's basically a case of repeating what worked 20 years before.
Was it 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, the first one came out in 1993.
That's more than 20 years.
Yeah, it is more than 20 years. And then the first Jurassic World was 2015.
Ah, yes. It was a good year.
Yeah, it was okay. It had its moments. But my point is that I think it's kind of funny. I mean, obviously in the Jurassic universe, the fact that they didn't learn and that everything repeated was hubris.
I mean, they had it coming.
They had it coming. But in our world, just basically repeating the same formula was a massive success, and they've both been massive successes. Jurassic World was $1 billion film, and the new one just passed $1 billion globally.
Oh, well, good for it.
Yeah. But what does that say to you? 20 years later, they just repeated the formula, and it worked just as well.
It says to me that people like movies where people get eaten by dinosaurs.
Is that the big lesson?
That you should make a movie about dinosaurs eating people?
Yeah.
Yes. Always. If you're going to make a movie, listen to this. If you're going to make a movie, make it about dinosaurs violently eating people, because, I mean, you just said it passed $1 billion, right?
Right.
It works. Works every time.
As opposed to very politely eating people?
I mean, with a fork and knife,
right.
You really expect with a T-Rex with its little arms to hold a silver platter and shake some salt on there.
I guess that's true. You make an excellent point here. So what did you think about Fallen Kingdom in relation to the first Jurassic World movie? Did you like it better? Did you like it worse? How did it fare for you?
I actually thought it was really good. Not a disappointing sequel at all, really, because it wasn't about the park anymore. Mm-hmm. It was about something else entirely. You know, I thought it had a really original plot, because Jurassic Park, and all three of those, they go back to, like, the island, right?
Well, the first one, they go to the island and then to the park, something goes hideously wrong. And this is where since you didn't see the original trilogy, you wouldn't know that this second movie basically replicates the beats of that second movie. Because in the second movie, they go back to the island and they capture a whole bunch of the dinosaurs and they bring them to the mainland.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and in the second movie, in The Lost World, what they do is they capture a whole bunch, they land in San Diego, and then of course the T-Rex runs amok in downtown San Diego and eats people's dogs and all that sort of stuff. So actually, in many ways, it's a replication of, again, the plot beats that happened in the series so far.
Oh, well, I guess it's not as original as I thought it was. Because, see,
Ding, 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 ding.
I thought all three of them took place, like, on the island, and people just kept going there for some reason, and same thing happened again and again.
Right.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I still thought it was good because it involved something that is a real problem in today's world, which is the selling of endangered species, really, to, like, pharmaceutical companies, or trying to use, like, biological weapons. And, like, that just seemed, like, pretty relatable for today's world, I guess, because we're always looking for new weapons to use in warfare, and dinosaurs in warfare would be pretty intense.
Well, for me, that's always been the first Jurassic World, and then also in this one, this was also the place where it was kind of a fall down for me. Because the thing is that, like, we're going to create these dinosaurs, and then we're going to utilize them for, like in the new one, they're like, you paint someone with a laser, and then a sound will activate them, and off they go. And in one sort of sense, sure. Why not?
I did find that kind of lame.
But on the other hand, for me, it was the thing of the computer AI is so much more advanced now it doesn't make sense to do that. You would just paint somebody with a drone and have the drone go after them relentlessly.
Yeah, why would you need a dinosaur?
Why would you need a dinosaur for it? Now, in the context of the movie, sure, you're at the movies, you're chomping down on popcorn, and it's fine, but it's like, that is the thing that kind of breaks down for me. And this is where, for example, the Jurassic Park metaphor always worked for me, because dinosaurs, let's go see them.
What Jurassic Park?
If you had a chance to go see live dinosaurs, would you go see them?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, see, and
got me.
Even though you've seen five, I've now seen 5 movies worth of people getting chopped. There's, the recognition that fundamentally we're still all going to go see the dinosaurs.
Yeah, okay. I mean, think about this. In the first Jurassic World, basically a resort island.
Yeah.
Stay there in hotels, restaurants, all that stuff. See the dinosaurs, do fun stuff. Imagine how many people got to see them and do all that fun stuff before the tragedy happened. You could have been one of those people. It didn't have to be, a tragedy necessarily for you. I mean, it could have been, but
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they could have solved, and here's the other thing that's always been a fall down for me, right? Which is fundamentally, unless you are planning to do something like create weaponry, which we've already established is not a great idea.
Right.
Because they're wild animals. It's sort of like the Navy using seals or dolphins to extract things, right?
Navy SEALs.
Navy SEALs. No, they actually have a program where they were trying to use dolphins and seals and stuff like that to do things. And part of it is like, I guess, but it's kind of unethical. And also, wild animals are not necessarily going to do what you want them to do. But that said, given that any dinosaur would have been an awesome dinosaur to see, why would you do carnivores in the first place?
Yeah, isn't there a reason why they did all females? So, like, they wouldn't be as aggressive or something?
Well, yeah. Well, no, they did them all female so that there wouldn't be breeding issues. There is the idea that females of the species would be less aggressive, as you just kind of mentioned, which if you actually know biology, like, for example, the lionesses do all the hunting instead of the lions. And generally speaking, that's just not a great idea to build a metaphor based on cultural stereotypes in human cultures. But yeah, no, the idea, and that's, in the first movies, that's where Ian Malcolm goes in, well, life finds a way.
Well, here's the reason why they made carnivores, because those are the only cool ones.
Well, but that's the whole, but I fundamentally disagree with that, because if you've got dinosaurs, you got the big Brachiosauruses. And
those ones are my favorite. I wasn't saying, like, for me that carnivores are, like, the coolest. I'm just saying, in society's point of view, the ones with the sharpest teeth and the biggest claws are the coolest ones.
Sure. But this is my point, which is that they have raptors and the T-Rex. And all these animals are super intelligent and or able to basically bite through concrete to get at you. Why not start off the park with just herbivores? You got the Triceratops, which is a sexy, sexy beast. Stegosaurus. You got
Ankylosaurus.
Yeah, you got they're cool animals.
Yeah, the long neck really is the coolest. If you watch any dinosaur movie and the long neck is not your favorite, you're watching it wrong.
Yeah, you're somehow dead inside. But that's my point. If it had been me, again, going back to, second thinking these things, and obviously the way that we would do it would be different because we are not living in a movie where drama has to be created. True. Yes?
Oh, I was going to say, well, think about a zoo. You could have tons of harmless animals, and yet people want the lions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's kind of the same sense.
Yeah, but the lion is not the size of a 2-story building.
You mean the T-Rex?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you got me there.
Right. So, I mean, this is just, like I said, this is just my feeling about it. Like, fundamentally, all of these movies could have been solved by them initially going, yeah, let's not do the carnivores. Or at least let's do the carnivores that are no bigger than chickens.
Those exist.
Yeah. I mean, because that was the whole thing. Actually, the raptors in the original Jurassic Park, the real raptors were basically the size of large geese. So
actual raptors?
Yeah.
Like back in the day?
Back in the day.
Really?
Yeah. And this is actually something that I thought they were very sly about in the first Jurassic World movie, is when they had Henry Wu make the point that the way that the dinosaurs are built in the movies is not actually what they look like based on what we know about dinosaurs today. And that was really interesting because back in the original Jurassic Park, they were running off models of dinosaurs that were fundamentally different than what we strongly believe dinosaurs are like today. Like back in the day, there was an argument about whether or not they were warm-blooded. Somewhere between the first movie and Jurassic World, they discovered, hey, did you know that most dinosaurs had feathers?
Yeah, that's still, I can't accept that, honestly. It's
Right.
like, I know it's science, but it's like, what? No.
Well, and that's the whole point, and that's why, and that was really smart for them to put that in the first Jurassic World movie, where Henry Wu goes, "We have designed dinosaurs here that have no relation to what the dinosaurs actually were." It was him pointing out to everybody who would be sitting there going, "Well, actually, that in fact they know that they've created not the actual realistic dinosaurs, but the dinosaurs as we have culturally imagined them for the last 100 years." And I thought that was a really interesting thing for them to bring into both of the new films.
It's kind of like chihuahuas compared to wolves.
Right. Yeah. The idea that you just have this new, you know that this is wrong. Right?
Yeah.
Or you know that it's factually wrong or scientifically wrong, but you're going to go with it anyway because that's what people expect. That's what people are going to come. Nobody's going to come and see a bunch of dinosaurs that actually look like chickens.
Yeah, that would be kind of lame.
Well, but that's the thing is that the dinosaurs really did look like chickens.
I feel like we should probably talk a little bit more about the movie.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Just because, like, it's not necessarily a history lesson.
Because we're already at 17 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
Not an anthropology thing. No, archaeology.
You know, but the thing is that we can make these things about whatever we want to.
I know, but we're advertising it as about Jurassic World. Fallen Kingdom specifically.
All right.
It's a sequel.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, 3 minutes. We got this.
No, you can take as much time as you want as long as it's 3 minutes.
Okay. Did you expect Lockwood's employee to be the bad guy?
You know, the thing about it is, again, going back to the Lost World, and so this was knowledge that I kind of had that you didn't have. In the Lost World, John Hammond's nephew kind of is the bad guy. So in both cases, to have the younger person be the one who initially seems like they're doing things for one reason turns out to be another one entirely. I don't know that I was expecting it, but it just absolutely did not surprise me when it actually turned out that way.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me, but I was also disappointed.
You were disappointed in the character?
Disappointed, but not surprised.
Disappointed, but not surprised in the character.
Yeah.
Well, and again, the thing is that, you know, this is one of the things that, I've always mentioned that, having been a movie critic, there are things that I expect in particular movies. You know that things are going to go wrong. They're going to try to collect all the animals, and yet something's not going to be quite right about it. And I think that you, because you're my kid, every time we watched movies as you were growing up, I would always point things out, right?
Yes.
He's like, this is why it is in the movie. And she's like, I didn't.
You did that with Monster House.
I didn't, but I didn't spoil it for you, did I?
No.
No?
No.
No.
But you definitely did it with Monster House.
Right. Are you saying that I spoiled Monster House for you?
No.
Do I need to apologize for spoiling Monster House for you?
No.
Okay. But I was pointing out the economics of storytelling, right?
Yeah.
You put something out there, it has to be there for a reason. If everything seems to be going according to plan, you know that the plan's going to be subverted. There's not enough plan to fill out 2 hours of a movie, and so on and so forth. So no, it really wasn't surprising for me that he turned out to be the bad guy, because he was in a perfect position to be a bad guy. And again, since this was basically once more replicating the second movie in the film series, it didn't surprise me that, again, he would turn out to be this particular way. The thing for me that was surprising was that your mom's probably annoyed with me. Every once in a while, somebody would come up on the screen, I'm like, yep, that one's going to get eaten. Yep, that one's going to get eaten. That one's going to get eaten. And some of the people I thought were going to get eaten didn't get eaten at all.
Wow, that's a tragedy.
Like the paleo-veterinarian.
Oh.
I thought the paleo-veterinarian was going to get chomped on for sure.
What? No.
Well, I was wrong.
way.
I was wrong.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that to her.
They might do that to her. Steven Spielberg would do that to her. I totally guarantee you that Steven Spielberg would be like, yep, she's a really awesome character. Chop her in half.
Yeah, speaking of those characters, the tech guy and her were like the new character.
But that's my point, though, is that in the first couple of films, everybody was on the menu. And this is a fall down of the Jurassic World movies. In the first Jurassic World, kind of substantially, and in this one completely, none of the good guys really got eaten. And in fact, the very first Jurassic World one, really the only good person to get eaten was that poor assistant of Claire's.
Oh, yeah, dude, she got demolished.
She got demolished.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. But, I mean, I think it's a good thing that none of the good people get eaten because that just upsets the audience.
But that's my point. It's like, and one of the major differences between the Park movies and the World movies is that in the Park movies there was real tension of it's possible for everybody to die.
Yeah, and
whereas
you knew in Jurassic World that they weren't going to kill the 2 kids.
Right.
And they weren't going to kill Chris Pratt, and they definitely weren't going to kill Claire.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, I guess there was no stress going on there.
And that was, and for me, you know, I enjoyed Fallen Kingdom, and there wasn't the tension of I'm concerned who's going to die. Once again, when I started, I was like, okay, the paleo veterinarian's definitely going to die. And then when she didn't, at the point where it would have, for me, made sense for her to die, I was like, yeah, then nobody's going to die.
I mean, they needed her to save Blue, but I guess they didn't need her for the rest of the film.
Right.
So I guess that would have made sense. Same with the tech guy. They only needed him to get into... Well, no, because then at the end...
Well, they found things for him to do.
Yeah.
It was competently constructed, but there really wasn't any tension, and that was the thing that it didn't stop me from liking the movie. It kept it from being like, you went to the very first Jurassic Park movie, or at least I did. And that thing was actually genuinely scary. I went and saw it with a bunch of movie critics, and I was sitting with a critic named Betsy Pickle, and every scene, Betsy Pickle like grabbed my arm and was just like squeezing it because she was terrified. And at the end of it, I really did have bruises on my arm because she was like, "Oh my God!" So that was very definitely the case in the first film. And these 2 most recent films, there was never a point where I was like, it was cool, they were interesting to look at, they were fun, but there wasn't tension in it. They were good films, but they were not great films for me.
Oh, you know what else was awesome about this movie?
Tell me.
Is the lava looked super real, and I thought the explosions were really cool to watch. I mean, I feel bad for the island and like the dinosaurs that got left behind. And if you didn't cry watching that long neck on the dock as it gets obliterated by the volcanic ash and stuff, you don't have a heart. But the explosions looked really cool. Volcanoes are like the ultimate disaster. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
Tornadoes, awesome. Hurricanes, super cool. But volcanoes, that is a world destroyer right there.
Right.
Like the super volcano in Yellowstone, world destroyer.
World destroyer. I did think the idea that Chris Pratt only barely outruns a pyroclastic flow.
That was intense.
Right. It was intense, but it's not quite accurate. He would have been toast. But then we wouldn't have a movie.
So what grade would you give this movie overall?
I give it like a B minus. Like I said,
B minus?
Yes, a B minus.
Wow.
And because I enjoyed it, it was fun. I had a good time with it. But like I said, there wasn't any tension for me. You know, I didn't worry that the bad guys would win or that the good guys wouldn't prevail. So for me, it was fun. It was enjoyable. I had a good time. But remember what I said a couple of episodes ago where I said I'm easily amused, but I'm hard to impress? I was amused but not impressed by this movie.
Oh, I thought it was pretty good, and I really like Chris Pratt. So
Okay.
I'm gonna give it an A minus.
You're really going to give it an A minus?
Yeah, like a solid 91.
A solid 91.
Yeah, or like a 90. We'll go
Okay.
with 90.
Okay.
So it barely makes the A cut.
All right. I mean,
So we'll call that like an 86. Well, how far of a B minus?
we can average it out to a B and I'll be fine with that. Like a solid 84, 85.
Okay, 85.
85. Okay. I think you and I fundamentally different approaches on this particular film. So.
Well, I really liked it.
Well, good. I mean, I'm happy you liked it. And I do think also that my grade also reflects the fact that I have the earlier trilogy to look at as well, so I can see places where things are replicated as opposed to you, who is coming in with it with newer eyes, and so it's not the same thing.
Yeah, also, I didn't really like the kids in the first one. Not that the acting is bad or anything, I just didn't really like the characters of the kids that much. Because I found the little boy annoying, I guess.
Sure.
So that also factors into why I didn't like, or why I kind of like the second one more.
Yeah.
I like the premise of the first one better, but because it's the classic part goes wrong sort of thing.
Right.
But I thought the second one was really good.
Good. All right, well, that wraps it up for us for this time. And once again, thanks for everybody for listening. And say goodbye.
Adios.
Bye-bye.